Arthur is exactly 72 years old. He lives with a constant dull ache in his lower back, and his cardiologist recently discovered a moderate blockage in one of his coronary arteries. Today, Arthur is sitting in a cold, brightly lit consultation room. His surgeon is smiling warmly, sliding a thick stack of hospital consent forms across the desk. The surgeon is aggressively recommending an immediate complex spinal fusion to fix his back and casually mentioning that next year they should probably crack his chest open for a routine bypass surgery. The doctor looks him right in the eye and promises that these standard everyday procedures will give him the energy of a man 20 years younger. All Arthur has to do is pick up the pen and sign the paper. But Arthur is being lured into a catastrophic medical trap called the trauma illusion. His highly trained surgeon is obsessively focused on fixing a mechanical broken part, but he is completely ignoring Arthur's fragile, aging biology. The hospital industry makes billions of dollars every single year by treating a 70-year-old human body exactly the same way it treats a 40-year-old body. But this is a deadly biological lie. Subjecting an elderly body to these two specific, highly lucrative elective surgeries is exactly like trying to completely rebuild the rusted, fragile engine of an antique car while it is speeding down the highway at 60 miles per hour. The new parts might be shiny and strong, but the chassis simply cannot survive the violent shock of the installation. When you are over 65 years old, your cellular reserve has naturally dropped. Your internal organs are already fighting a delicate daily battle just to maintain equilibrium. When a surgeon subjects you to the brutal, unnatural assault of a heavy steel scalpel, your aging immune system is violently thrown into a massive, uncontrollable inflammatory spiral. For millions of trusting seniors, the underlying disease does not destroy their golden years. The operation itself does. Let us look at the brain eraser and the terrifying microscopic reality of the first routine surgery that hospitals are desperate for you to sign up for.
The first routine surgery that hospitals are desperate for you to sign up for. It is called coronary artery bypass surgery, or open heart surgery. The glossy hospital brochure shows you a picture of a beautifully repaired, healthy heart, but they completely hide the devastating neurological cost of the procedure. To physically operate on your heart, the surgeon must stop it from beating. For hours, your life is handed over to a cardiopulmonary bypass machine. This artificial, mechanical pump takes blood out of your body, oxygenates it, and forcefully shoves it back in. But this machine is incredibly violent to your biology. As the mechanical pump aggressively pushes the blood, it generates thousands of microscopic air bubbles and sheer physical trauma that tears blood cells apart, releasing a storm of inflammatory debris. All of those microbubbles and toxic cellular debris shoot directly upward, straight into the fragile microscopic capillaries of your brain. Combined with the heavy neurotoxic chemicals of deep general anesthesia, your aging neurons are literally suffocated, starved of clean oxygen, and physically damaged. A few hours later, the surgeon walks into the waiting room with a big smile and tells your family the surgery was a complete success. The heart is pumping perfectly. But when Arthur finally wakes up, he is not the same man. He is terrified. He is aggressive. He is lost in a dense, terrifying fog. When his granddaughter walks into the room, he looks at her face and he cannot remember her name. The medical establishment quietly calls this Post-Operative Cognitive Dysfunction, or POCD. The surgeon successfully fixed the mechanical pump, but the hospital machine completely erased the hard drive. His family will quietly whisper, He just never came back from the surgery. Avoiding that operating table is a matter of absolute undeniable survival. But if you are over 65 years old, the walls of your arteries are already accumulating stiff, hard, calcified plaque. That restriction in blood flow is exactly what the surgeon is waiting to cut open. To physically dissolve that hardened plaque, naturally restore wide open blood flow, and protect your heart without ever relying on a brain-destroying bypass machine, you must use a highly advanced cardiovascular cleansing protocol. There is a private, deeply researched biological presentation detailing this precise natural plaque dissolution blueprint. We have linked this mandatory guide in the first pinned comment below. If you are over 65 years old and you absolutely refuse to let a hospital machine erase your mind and steal your memories, you must watch this video. Pause this documentary right now. Go to the first pinned comment below and click the link to start cleaning your arteries before a surgeon forces you onto the operating table. But the heart is not the only target of medical trauma. Before you agreed to fix your chronic back pain, let's look at the bone shatter and the terrifying biomechanical reality of what heavy metal does to an aging spine.
The terrifying biomechanical reality of what heavy metal does to an aging spine. The second routine procedure hospitals aggressively push is elective spinal fusion. If you are over 65, chronic back pain is almost universal. When Arthur complains about the daily, grinding ache in his lower back, his surgeon immediately suggests a highly invasive, incredibly expensive operation. The promise is simple. They will surgically open his back, insert massive titanium plates, drill thick metal screws deep into his vertebrae, and lock the bones together to stop the pain. But think about this in pure mechanical terms. Imagine taking a piece of old, dry, brittle wood and trying to forcefully screw massive, heavy industrial steel hinges directly into it. The steel hardware is incredibly strong, but the fragile, aging wood simply cannot withstand the violent mechanical stress. As you tighten the screws, the wood splinters, cracks, and completely shatters. This is exactly what happens to your aging spine. Your spine is an elegant, biological shock absorber, perfectly designed by nature to constantly flex, bend, and distribute the heavy weight of your body. When the surgeon violently bolts a section of Arthur's spine together with rigid titanium, that area completely loses its ability to move. It becomes a frozen, unyielding block of metal. Now, every single time Arthur takes a step, walks down the stairs, or simply bends over, the massive physical impact of gravity can no longer be absorbed by the fused section. All of that violent kinetic energy is instantly transferred directly to the delicate, aging discs sitting immediately above and immediately below the metal hardware. Within a matter of months, those adjacent bones are crushed under the intense, unnatural pressure. They begin to literally crumble and disintegrate. The medical industry calls this catastrophe adjacent segment disease. The horrifying truth that the surgeon did not mention is that in patients over 65, complex spinal fusions have a staggering complication rate exceeding 40%. Arthur agreed to the massive surgery to cure a chronic ache, but because the surrounding bones have been completely shattered by the rigid metal hardware, he is now staring at the terrifying reality of permanent nerve damage and a wheelchair. Clinical studies prove that for many elderly patients, this brutal, aggressive surgery provides absolutely no better long-term pain relief than simple, targeted physical therapy, but it introduces a massive, life-altering risk of permanent disability. Let us look at the survival protocol and the exact questions you must force your doctor to answer before you ever pick up a pen to sign your life away.
Before you ever pick up a pen to sign your life away, Arthur looked down at the thick stack of hospital consent forms. He looked at the heavy black pens sitting on the desk. And then he pushed the paperwork right back across the table. He refused to become a victim of the trauma illusion. He refused to let a mechanical bypass machine erase his memories, and he refused to let heavy titanium screws shatter his aging spine. He implemented the survival protocol. Whenever a surgeon tells you that a massive elective operation is simply routine, you must look them directly in the eye and ask two absolute non-negotiable questions. Question number 1, what realistically happens to my body if we do absolutely nothing for the next 6 months? If the surgeon admits that nothing urgent or life-threatening will happen, then you are not in an emergency. You have time. Time to breathe, time to get a second opinion, and time to heal your body naturally. Question number 2, is there a minimally invasive, robotic, or catheter-based alternative? Because medicine has evolved rapidly. Today, instead of cracking your chest open and stopping your heart, brilliant doctors can use a tiny catheter to repair valves through a small vein in your leg, completely avoiding the brain-destroying bypass machine. And instead of fusing your spine with heavy metal, targeted physical therapy, specialized injections, and muscular rehabilitation can stabilize your back naturally, allowing you to walk without shattering your adjacent bones. Arthur chose the gentle path. He chose targeted physical therapy for his back and an aggressive, natural cardiovascular protocol for his heart. Today, he is actively walking his granddaughter through the park. His mind is incredibly sharp, and he is completely pain-free. He is alive and he is whole because he remembered one simple, undeniable truth. The hospital may own the building, and the surgeon may hold the scalpel, but you hold the pen. You make the final choice. Do not let the medical industry treat your fragile biology like an old, rusted car engine. If you are over 65 years old and a doctor is already pressuring you to surgically open your chest to clean out your blocked arteries, you must take control of your cardiovascular health today, before it becomes a surgical emergency. You can naturally dissolve that hardened plaque and restore youthful blood flow without ever touching a dangerous bypass machine. We have linked the complete step-by-step plaque dissolution and arterial cleansing blueprint in the first pinned comment below. If you refuse to let a routine surgery steal your cognitive function or put you in a wheelchair, you must watch this private presentation right now. Click the link in the first pinned comment below before you sign that hospital consent form.